The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, volume 5, section 4, question and answers. Next question. Can you say in the concrete what the manifestation are which the yogi can show? Can you say in the concrete? Can you say in the concrete what the manifestation are which the yogis can show? Answer. The yogi wants no faith or belief in his science, but that which is given to any other science. Just enough gentlemanly faith to come and make the experiment. The ideal of a yogi is tremendous. I have seen the lower things that can be done by the power of mind, and therefore I have no right to disbelieve that the highest thing can be done. The ideal of the yogi is eternal peace. The ideal of the yogi is the eternal peace and love through omniscience and omnipotent. I know a yogi who was bitten by a cobra, who fell down on the ground. In the evening, he revived again, and when asked what happened, he said, "A messenger came from my beloved. All hatred and anger and jealousy have been burnt out of this man. Nothing can make him react. He is infinite love all the time, and he is omnipotent in his power of love." That is the real yogi. And this manifestation, different things, and this manifesting different things is accidental on the way. That is not what he wants to attain. The yogi says every man is a slave except the yogi. He is a slave of food, to air, to his wife, to his children, to the dollars, slave to the nation, slave to the man and fame, and thousand things in this world. The man who is not controlled by any one of these bondages is alone a real man, a real yogi. They have conquered relative existence in their life or in this life, who are firm fixed in sameness. God is pure and the same to all. Therefore, such are said to be the living in God. Therefore, such are said to be living in God. Next question. Do the yogis attach any importance to caste? Answer. No. Caste is only the training school for the undeveloped minds. Next question. Is there no connection between the idea of superconsciousness and the heat of India? Answer. I do not think so, because all this philosophy was thought out 15,000 years or 15 feet above the sea level among the Himalayas in an almost Arctic temperature. I do not think so, because all this philosophy was thought out 15,000 feet above the sea level among the Himalayas in an almost Arctic temperature. Next question. Is it practicable to attain success in the cold climate? Answer. It is practicable. And the only thing that is practicable in this world, we say, you are born Vedantist. Each one of you, you are declaring your oneness with everything each moment you live. Every time that your heart goes out towards the world, you are the true Vedantist. Only you do not know it. You are moral without knowing. Why? And the Vedantist is a philosophy, or Vedanta is a philosophy which analyzes and men to be consciously, men to be moral consciously. It is an essence of all religions. Next question. Should you say that there is an unsocial principle in our Western people which makes us so pluralistic and the Eastern people are more sympathetic than we are? Answer. I think the Western people are more cruel and the Eastern people are more mercy towards all beings. But that is simply because your civilization is much more recent. It takes time to make a thing come under the influence of mercy. You have a great deal of power, and the power of control of mind has specially been very little practiced. It will take time to make you gentle and good. This feeling tingles in every drop of blood in India. If I go to the villages to teach the people politics, they will not understand. But if I go to teach them Vedant, they will say, now Swami, you are right. That vairagya, non attachment, is everywhere in India, even today. We are very much degenerated now, but kings will give up their thrones and go about the country without anything. In some places, the common village girls with her spinning wheels says, do not talk to me of delusion. My spinning wheel says, Soham Soham. I am he, I am he. Go and talk to these people and ask them why it is that they speak so and yet kneel before the stone or before that stone. They will say that with you religion means dogma. They will say that with you religion means dogma, but with them realization. I will be a Vedantist. One of them will say, only when all this has vanished and I have seen the reality. Until then, there is no difference between me and the ignorant. So I am using these stones and am going to temples and so on to come to realization. I have heard, but I want to see and realize. Different methods of speech, different manners of explaining the meanings of the scriptures. These are only for the enjoyment of the learned, not for freedom. Shankara. It is realization which leads us to the freedom or to that freedom. And question, is this spiritual freedom among the people consistent with attention to caste? Answer, certainly not. They say there should be no caste. Even those who are in caste say it is not a very perfect institution. But they say when you find us another and a better one, we will give it up. They say, what will you give us instead? Where is there no caste? In your nation, you are struggling all the time to make a caste. As soon as a man gets a bag of dollars, he says, I am one of the 400. We alone have succeeded in making a permanent caste. Other nations are struggling and do not succeed. We have superstitions and evils enough. Would taking the superstitions and evils from your country mind matter? It is owing to caste that 300 millions of people can find a piece of bread to eat it. It is an impact institution, no doubt. But if it has not if it has not been for caste, you would have had no Sanskrit books to study. This caste makes walls among or around which all sort of invasion rolled and surged, but found it impossible to break through. That necessity has not gone yet, so caste remains. The caste we have now is not that of 700 years ago. Every blow has retrieved it. Do you realize that India is the only country that never went outside of itself to conquer? The Emperor Ashok insisted that none of his descendants should go to conquer. If people want to send us teachers, let them help, but not injure. Why should all these people come to conquer the Hindus? Did they do any injury to the world or to their nation? What little good they could do, they did for the world. They taught it science, philosophy, religion, and civilization, the savage hoarders of the earth. And this in the return, only murderer and tyranny, and calling them heathen rascals. Look at the books written on India by the Western people, and at the stories of many travelers who go there in retaining in rela- retaliation retaliation for what injuries are these hurdles at them. Next question: what is Vedanta idea of civilization? Answer: you are philosophers and you do not think that a bag of gold makes the difference between man and man. What is the value of all these machines and science? They have only one result: they spread knowledge. You have not solved the problem of want, but only made it keener. Machines do not solve the poverty questions, they simply make men struggle more. Competition gets keener. What value has nature in itself? Why do you go and build a monument to a man who sent electricity through a wire? Does not nature do that millions of times over? It is not everything already existing in nature. What is the value of your getting it? It is already there. The only value is that it makes this development. This universe is simply a gymnasium in which the soul is taking exercise. And after these exercises, we become gods. So, the value of everything is to decide by how far it is a manifestation of God. Civilization is the manifestation of that divinity in man. Next question: have the Buddhist any caste law? Have the Buddhist any caste laws? Answer: the Buddhists never had much caste. There are very few Buddhists in India. Buddha was a social reformer. Yet in Buddhistic country, I find that there have been strong attempts to manufacture caste. Only they have failed. The Buddhist caste is practically not nothing, but they have pride or they take pride in it in their own mind. Buddha was one of the sannyasin of the Vedanta. He started a new sect just as others are started even today. The ideas which now are called Buddhism were not his, they were much more ancient. He was a great man who gave the ideas power. The unique element in Buddhism was its social element. Brahmins and Kshatriyas have always been our teachers, and most of the Upanishad were written by the Kshatriyas, while the ritualistic portion of the Vedas came from the Brahmins. Most of our great teachers throughout India have been Kshatriyas and were always universal in their teaching, while the Brahman prophet with two expectations were very exclusive. Ramakrishna, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, worshipped as incarnation of God, were Kshatriyas. Next question: are sects, ceremonies, and scriptures help to realization? Answer: when a man realizes, he gives up everything. The various sects and ceremonies and books, so far as they are means of arriving at that point, are all right. But when they fail in that, we must change them. They, the knowing one, must not despise. The knowing one must not despise the condition of those who are ignorant, nor should the knowing one destroy the faith of the ignorant in their own practical or particular method, but by proper action lead them and show them the path to come to their where he stands and show them the path to come to where he stands. Next question. How does Vedanta explains individuality and ethics? Answer. The real individuality is the absolute and the personalization is through Maya. It is only apparent. In reality, it is always the absolute. In reality, there is one, but in Maya, it appears as many. In Maya, there is this variation. Yet, even in this Maya, there is always a tendency to get back to the one, has expressed in all ethics and all morality of every nation, because it is constitutional necessity of the soul. It is finding its oneness and this struggle to find this oneness is what we call ethics and morality. Therefore, we must always practice them. Next question. Is not the greater part of ethics takes or taken up with the relation between individuals? Answer. That is what or that is all it is. The absolute does not comes within Maya. Next question. You say the individual is the absolute, and I was going to ask you whether the individual has knowledge. You say the individual is absolute, and I was going to ask you whether the individual has knowledge. Answer. The state of manifestation is individuality, and the light is the state in which we all call knowledge. To use therefore this term knowledge for the light of absolute. To use therefore this term knowledge for the light of absolute is not precise as the absolute state transcends relative knowledge. Next question. Does it includes it? Does it includes it? Answer. Yes. In this sense, just as a piece of gold can be changed into all sort of coins, so with this, the state can be broken up into all sort of knowledge. It is a state of superconsciousness and includes both consciousness and unconsciousness. The man who attains the state has all that we call knowledge. When he wants to realize that consciousness of knowledge, he has to go a step lower knowledge. It is lower state. It is only in Maya that we can have knowledge. Next, in 20th century Club of Boston, USA. Question. Did Vedanta exert any influence over Mohammedanism? Answer. This Vedantic spirit of religious literality, liberty, this Vedantic spirit of religious liberty has very much affected Mohammedanism. Mohammedanism in India is quite a different thing from that in any other country. It is only when Mohammedans come from other countries and preach to their religionists in India about living with men who are not of their faith that the Mohammedan mob is aroused and fights. Next question. Does Vedanta recognizes caste? The caste system, answer. The caste system is opposed to the religion of Vedanta. Caste is social custom and all our great preachers have tried to break it down. From Buddhism downward, every sect has preached against caste and every time it has only revived the chains. Caste is simply the outgrowth of the political institution of India. It is the hereditary trade competition with Europe and has broken caste more than any teachings. Next question. What is the peculiarity of Vedas? One peculiarity of Vedas is that they are the only scriptures that again and again declare that you must go beyond them. The Vedas say that they were written just for the child's mind, and when you have grown, you must go beyond them. Next question. Do you hold the individual soul to be the eternal real? Answer. The individual soul consists of man's thought, and they are changed or changing every moment. Therefore, it cannot be eternal really. It is real only in the phenomenal. That individual consists of memory and thought. How can that be real? Next question. Why did Buddhism has a religion declines in India? Answer. Buddhism did not really decline in India. It was only a gigantic social movement. Buddhism did not really decline in India. It was only a gigantic social movement. Before Buddha, great numbers of animals were killed for sacrifices and other reasons, and men drank wine and ate meat in large quantities. Since Buddha's teaching, drunkenness has almost disappeared, and the killing of animals has almost gone. Next, at Brooklyn Ethical Society, Brooklyn, USA. Next question. How can you reconcile your optimistic view with the existence of evil, with the universal prevalences of sorrow and pain? Answer. I can only answer the question if the existence of evil be first proved, but this, the Vedantic religion, does not admit it. Eternal pain unmixed with pleasure would be a positive evil, but temporal pain and sorrow, but temporal pain and sorrow, if they have contributed an element of tendencies and nobility tending towards eternal bliss, are not evils. On the contrary, they may be supreme good. We can assert that anything is evil. Why? Until we can assert that anything is evil until we have traced its consequences or sequence into the realm of eternity. Devil worship is not a part of Hindu religion. The human race is the process of development and have not reached the same attitude. Therefore, some are nobler and purer in their earthly lives than others. Everyone has an opportunity within the limit of sphere of his present development of making himself better. We cannot unmake ourselves. We cannot destroy or impair impair or impair the vital force within us, but we have the freedom to give it different directions. Next question. Is not the reality of cosmic matter simply the imagining of our own minds? Next question. It is not the reality. Next question. Is not the reality of cosmic matter simply the imagination of our own mind? Answer. In my opinion, the external world is certainly an entity. The external world is certainly an entity and has an experience or existence outside of our mental conception. All creation is moving towards and upwards, obedient to the great law of spirit evolution, which is different from the evolution of matter. The latter is symbolical of but does not explains. The process of former is the process of former. We are not individuals now. In our present earthly environment, we shall not have reached individuality until we shall have acceded to higher state when the divine spirit within us will have a perfect medium for the expression of its attributes. Next question. What is your explanation of the problem presented to Christ as to whether it was the infant itself or its parents that had sinned, that it was born blind? Answer. While the question of sin does not enter into the problem, I am convinced that the blindness was due to some act on the part of the spirit of child in the previous incarnation. In my opinion, such problems are only applicable or explicable on the hypothesis of a prior earthy existence. Next question. Do your spirit pass at death into the state of happiness? Answer. Death is only the change of condition. Time and space are in you. You are not in time and space. It is enough to know that as we make our lives purer and noble, either in the seen or the unseen world, the nearer we approach God, who is the center of all spiritual beauty and eternal love. Next question. What is Hindu theory of transmigration of soul? What is a Hindu theory of transmigration of the soul? Answer. It is on the same basis as the theory of conversation is to the scientist. This theory was first produced by the philosopher of my country. The ancient sages did not believe in a creation. A creation impulses, the creation impulses or implies producing something out of nothing. A creation implies producing something out of nothing. That is impossible. There was no beginning of creation, as there was no beginning of time. God and creation are as two lines within or without end, without beginning and parallel. Our theory of creation is or it was and is to be. All punishment is but reaction. People of the West should learn one thing from East, that that is toleration. All the religions are good since the essentials are the same. Next question. Why are the women of India not much elevated? Answer. It is in a great degree owing to the barbarous invades or invaders through different ages. It is partially due to the people of India themselves. When it is or when it was pointed out to Swami in America that Hinduism is not a proselytizing religion, proselytizing religion, he replied, I have a message to the West as Buddha had a message to the East. Next question. Do you intend to introduce the practice and rituals of Hindu religion into this country, America? Answer. I am preaching simply philosophy. Next question. Do you not think it is a fear of future hellfire were taken from man and there would be no controlling him? Answer. No. On the contrary, I think he is made far better through love and hope than through fear. Next, selection from the Mud Diary. Question. Whom can we call a guru? He who can tell your past and future is your guru. How can one have bhakti? There is bhakti within you, only a veil of lust and wealth covers it. And as soon as that is removed, bhakti will manifest by itself. Next question. What is the true meaning of the assertion that we should depend on ourselves? Answer. Here, here, self means the eternal self. But even dependence on the non eternal self may lead gradually to the right goal, as the individual self is really the eternal self under delusion. Next question. If until if unite or if unity is only reality, how could duality, which is perceived by all every moment, has arisen? Answer. Perception is never dual. It is only the representation of perception that involves duality. If perception were dual, the known would or could have existed independently of the knower and the vice versa. Next question. How is harmonious development of character to be best affected? Answer. By association with person whose character has been so developed.